Let's talk about effort. I mean, this is the NBA Finals, and we're talking about effort. That's a huge concern of mine. And tonight, that the starting lineup to start the game is 10-2 Miami. Start the third quarter, and we just got, we had guys out there that were just, whether feeling sorry for themselves for not making shots or thinking they can just turn it on or off. Miami came in here and outworked us. There's game plan breakdowns, personnel breakdowns. As I mentioned after game one, the fact that they got 16 wide open threes was concerning. They didn't make them. And so we got lucky in game one. Tonight they made them. So it was definitely a breakdown in communication. It was definitely a breakdown in our game plan. And we had a hard time getting stops, and then we had a hard time getting made baskets on the other end.
Talking point.
Yeah. I mean, it's the finals, man. Like, our energy has to be better. We can't come out like we did, and, we have to be better.
It's never a good thing to be wrong or consistently wrong in our business. I mean, we have our own version of the scoreboard. It's like, were you right, were you wrong? And if you were wrong, hopefully it's few and far between. Now, for the record, during our epic watch party on Thursday night, right before game one.
Fantastic.
I had Nuggets in 6, and Nuggets in 6 is still in play. But after game one, admittedly, I, like many people, thought it might be Nuggets in 4, maybe 5. And I guess I'll start, Michael, by saying I'm really happy to be wrong. Or at least I think I'm wrong. I mean, it could still be Nuggets in 5, but I'm happy to be wrong because I love being wrong about predicting a short series, because when you're wrong, it means that we win, insofar as we will now get a competitive, compelling, potentially long series. So I'm happy to be wrong about thinking that Denver was just so much better than Miami the way that I thought, I think many others thought, after game one. But let me tell you something, man. I'm pissed, and you got to forgive me in advance because I'm already on one. Because I cussed a bunch of children out yesterday. I spent cussing a bunch of children out all day, including my own.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
You got any emails on that? Any emails? Any phone calls? Texts?
No, not yet.
Since cussing out other people's kids?
Not yet. Not yet.
It's coming. It's coming.
They might be. Because when I hear, we're talking about the finals, okay? Not practice, not training camp, not the regular season, not even the first round. We're talking about the finals. And when I hear trigger words like effort, outworked, and energy in game 2 of the NBA Finals, I just got a question for the Nuggets. Who the F do you think you are? Who do you think you are that your coach, because if he said it, you know how embarrassing it is for a coach in the finals, because yesterday we had a championship game and got our asses kicked in the Marquee Hoops championship game yesterday. Okay.
How many did you lose by? How many did you lose by?
I don't even want to say. Let's just say it was over pretty much from the opening tap. And what pissed me off more than anything was that we just didn't come to play. So even during the game when Michael Malone was saying our starters didn't come to play or they weren't ready to play, I'm like, what are you saving it for? Jeff Green is right. It's the effing finals. So I'm concerned about Denver. We knew Miami wasn't going to go away quietly. We knew Miami wasn't going to roll over. We knew Miami was going to start to make some of those aforementioned 16 wide open threes that Michael Malone tracked from game one. But I guess what I would have never imagined that the team that had this Rocky Mountain-sized chip on its shoulder from the lack of perceived respect for the number 1 seed would dare disrespect the Heat and what's at stake by lacking effort?
Yeah.
Wow. That rubs me the wrong way. But I do feel better knowing that it's not just an AAU team. It's not just an AAU team. It's also the NBA. The NBA Finals. You got to coach effort. Are you kidding me? Against that team, the one thing you cannot not bring to the table when you play the Heat is sustained effort. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, look, what's so funny is that I'll start here. You're from a different era. I mean, when you were growing up, you could cuss out kids, and when I was growing up, you could cuss out kids, and maybe when you were a teenager and I was a teenager, that thing was still happening. But this is the timeout crowd.
Well,
man.
I was raised in the church. Everybody had license to whip my ass in the fellowship hall, in the back.
Right.
You go home and you get whipped by the whole neighborhood. Remember that? Remember those days?
That's right. And they do it in the name of the Lord.
Yes.
Hey, spare the rod, spoil the child. It don't mean that. It's not literal. Don't be coming up here with no switch on me.
If the deacons and the deaconesses did not whip your ass, your parents would be like, well, why didn't you handle it? Wait, you ain't do nothing about it? You saw him acting up, but you ain't do nothing about it? They get mad at them for not applying corporal punishment.
They throw all that meanness and then throw some scripture on it. That don't make it right.
Mm-hmm. You know I whipped because I love you. I whipped because I love you. Like, wow, okay. Thank you.
Hurts me more than it hurts you. No.
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
No, it doesn't. Where do you get that from? So anyway, I'm just like, I just hope it doesn't go left for you because you did that to your kids.
I get reported or something. Yeah.
And other people's kids. But I'm gonna tell you this, man. Look, don't feel bad about it. Don't feel bad about from the top. You said being wrong. Don't feel bad about it because outside of South Florida, nobody else is saying I told you so. It's only South Florida Heat fans who thought they had a chance, I guess, the entire time. And if they were honest with themselves and we check all their Twitter activity, they probably are as guilty as the rest of us. So, look, it's hard to get past who the Miami Heat were and who the Miami Heat are. It's not just who they were in the regular season. It's like what we're looking at. It's not just fans. It's not just commentators. It's former coaches. It's former players. We look at them and we see them for what we think they are. But they've, as I said in the feed, man, they've taken us out of the prediction business because now I have no idea. I said Nuggets in 5. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win. Maybe the Heat win in 5. I don't know. And we just, like, every step of the way, we think, okay, now it ends. It was they beat Milwaukee, but okay, that's on Milwaukee. Milwaukee thought that was on Milwaukee. Milwaukee fired his coach after losing to the Heat. The Knicks, okay, Knicks have home court, but that's not real. It's gonna end against the Celtics because the Celtics are much better than the Heat. And now we're talking in Boston. I hear another story. Hey, should they trade Jaylen Brown? Joe Mazzulla got new people on his coaching staff because he got out-coached by Eric Spoelstra. Like, everybody thinks it's them and not the Miami Heat. It's always, it's what we could have done. And so even Michael Malone is doing that. Well, look, we weren't ready to play and we were doing this. Yeah, there might be a reason you were doing that. It could be the other guys. I'll just say this. Last thing. And I think Michael Malone
called that. And by the way, you called that in that Celtics series. I ain't gonna lie. You called that in that Celtics series.
Yeah.
Talk about the Celtics would underestimate the Heat.
I think everybody underestimates the Heat. If Michael Malone, his biggest coaching achievement, it needs to start right now before Game 3. I don't know if he can pull it off, but I can give him some advice. And I don't know if the guy took it. I'm gonna go back on you. You don't remember this. But maybe you remember I did your show on another network. I did your show, and but you don't know about the interaction I had. So I did your show in Bristol, Connecticut back in the day, and I was talking about Terrell Pryor, which hurt my heart because he's a Buckeye. He's family. I don't like to say bad things about Buckeyes, but he was trying to be the Raiders' starting quarterback.
Yeah, had like a 90-yard run for the Raiders, I want to say.
Yeah, I was like, look.
Yeah.
I was like, look, this ain't going to happen for him. He's not, Terrell Pryor, if you're looking at Terrell Pryor as your quarterback, you got problems. So I'm really going in on Terrell Pryor. Somebody hit me up on Twitter when I used to look at it. Anyway, somebody hit me up on Twitter and said, hey, you know what? So he really went at me, just coming at me like, you funny looking and look at your small head and all this stuff. I said, look, man, I understand what you're saying. Imagine that I'm Beyonce. Imagine that it's Beyonce saying these things about Terrell Pryor. Don't worry about what I look like. Worry about the content. So the same thing with the Miami Heat. Miami Heat. Don't worry about 44 wins in the regular season and the undrafted and all that stuff. You got to get the narrative out of your head. Pretend like it's the Miami Heat with LeBron James and Chris Bosh and D. Wade. Hey, that ain't Eric Spoelstra. Or even they got Eric Spoelstra with Pat Riley as an assistant coach. And let's just play some timeline
Stan
games.
Van Gundy behind the bench. They shouldn't.
You got Alonzo. You got Alonzo coming off the bench.
They shouldn't have to do that. Why you got to play mind games? Why you got to play Jedi mind tricks in the NBA Finals in professional basketball? But it shouldn't be. You got to fight that. It's so funny because remember I went at Jaylen Brown in the conference finals when he was like, yeah, they're playing out of their minds. A bunch of guys who we should control or contain, whatever he said. I'm like, why should you be able to control Max Strus and Gabe Vincent? Why should you be a Caleb Martin? Why should you be able to? You're entitled because they weren't drafted, because they're not max players? That really pissed me off. And the same thing happened Sunday. We beat that team last time we played them. I was like, I don't want to hear shit about what we did against that team the last time we played them. That does not matter today. And sure enough, they ran us off the freaking floor. I know nobody cares about my AAU team. I'm sorry. I'm just really still smarting from being embarrassed yesterday. But it just reminds me, but it's just like, wait a second. When I hear this, I'm like, are you serious? Is universal? Is this when you're stepping into the ring? Remember I told you about my Krav Maga training? And the first thing that I was trained is to believe that anybody can whip your ass. Like I was trained, like I don't care what they look like. I don't care you don't judge a book by their cover. Everybody's a world-class fighter. In the NBA Finals, you mean to tell me that they're sitting up here thinking that the Miami Heat, because they're an 8th seed, because they didn't make their threes in the regular season for the most part, because they don't have Tyler Hero, we'll see about game 3, they don't have Tyler Hero, you mean to tell me that you somehow think you're entitled to a title? Where they do that at? You know what? I'll tell you else who the Miami Heat are. You know who they are? They're America's team. They're America's team. Because if any team collectively came up out the mud, it's the Miami Heat. That team they just got a team full of hoopers. They got a team full of hoopers. You know? Yeah. They're the young bloods. If you don't give a damn, we don't give a. I mean, I'm telling you, because like those dudes, like Kevin Love, like, I'm out the rotation, I'm back in, I got you. You know? Duncan Robinson, I got you when you need me. I'm here in the fourth quarter to spark this comeback. Max Strus, 0 for 9 game 1, lighting them on fire to start game 2. It's unbelievable how these dudes just keep coming. And if you are the Denver Nuggets, it is inexcusable and unbelievable how you got to learn the hard way too. So even if you were inclined to underestimate this ragtag bunch, why would you make the same mistake the Celtics and the Knicks and the Bucks did? Because they're a playing team?
No, it's because you've done your work as an NBA player. They worked all season. This is not new for them. It's not new for them. So I know some people watching the NBA Finals. We got some hardcore fans who've been watching it all season long like us. All season long we've been watching it. But then you got a lot of casual fans who are just being introduced to the Miami Heat, and they love the story. Like you just said.
A lot of untrained eyes, basically. Would you say a lot of untrained eyes?
Start off from the bottom, now we're here, the whole thing. Okay, we got it. They love it. They love it. Well, Jeff Green and Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and KCP, all those guys, they've been in the league for a long time. Max Strus is not new to them. You know, Jimmy Butler's not new to them. Any of them. Gabe Vincent, they're not new. So all they're doing, and this is why I understand it's so difficult, all they're doing is going off of their knowledge of NBA players. Take our profession. There's some people in this profession, you got a lot of respect for them. There's some other people, you find out, hey, they got a show, and they going up against you. You'd be like, get this mother.
Get out. Right.
Dude.
This is a fraud. He's a fraud.
Come on.
He ain't working. He ain't saying nothing. He ain't saying nothing.
I know what that's going to do.
All the time.
I know what that's going to look like.
All the time.
And so they're doing the same thing.
I don't respect nobody.
Based off.
Quiet as a Shit. I was talking. Like who? Who?
I appreciate it.
Who?
I appreciate the honesty.
No, but seriously.
I appreciate it. They're going out there,
here's what it comes down to.
information,
Yeah. Go ahead.
and it's happening to them. Because they watch it and they
Right.
say, that ain't going to happen to me. Like, listen, Gabe Vincent did the Celtics, he ain't going to do that to me.
Well, they just need to stop
thing
saying
happens to them.
that. Stop saying that the Heat won't make 48% of their threes or 40+% of their threes. They made the biggest difference. They made 50% of their threes last night. And I guess I would hope that the Nuggets, while they were resting, were not resting on their laurels, because that would really ruin everything that I thought I knew about this team. That was, I mean, honestly. And the worst thing that could happen is it still came down to a last-second shot. Murray still had a chance to tie, right? So they're probably going home thinking, if we just do this differently, we'd have won this game. Like you said, it's about, no, you got to respect Miami. Nothing else, you need to know that it's going to be a long, difficult fight for you.
Speaking of respect, you say you don't respect nobody. How about your people?
Not on this show. No, I mean, off of this show. Off of this show. I don't care. I don't check for nobody. I don't listen to nobody. Okay. I don't watch nobody that ain't on this here screen right here. That's what I'm saying.
Right here. Right here. This right here. This right here.
That's all that matters. It's us versus us, Michael. That's what I told the kids. It's us versus us.
It's us.
Don't worry about them. Play our game.
You played on a lot of mentally tough teams over the course of your career. What is it about this specific team that makes them so resilient, especially in this run that you guys are on?
I just think nobody cares on our team. We're not worried about what anybody thinks. We're so focused in on what we do well and who we are as a group that at the end of the day, that's what we fall back on. Make or miss shots, we're going to be who we are because we're not worried about anybody else. It's how it's been all year long, and that's not going to change. So that's what I think it is. I think it's the I don't give a damn factor.
All year, Denver has been complaining about not getting in respect. And here in the finals, they are the heavy favorite. So are you guys a little upset that you're not getting the respect that you deserve?
I speak for my whole team when I say we don't give a damn. We just want to get 4 wins. We don't give a damn about none of the other stuff.
That's been a consistent message from everybody, right? That you just don't really care what all of us are saying about it.
Yeah, we don't care. 4 wins, that's all that matters.
So we know the Heat aren't going to be satisfied just getting a split in Denver. We know that they're not satisfied just being here. We know Jimmy Butler didn't even want to hold the conference finals trophy. He wanted to hold the next one. So we know that the Heat are never satisfied. That's their hallmark. But I want to go this theme of not being satisfied. Let's talk about the guy that was just asking that last question we heard. Let's talk about Shaq.
Yeah.
Because I check Twitter every now and then, and I come across Shaq's tweet complaining about this graphic. Thanks for the low-hanging fruit, Shaq. Appreciate it. It's always tasty, always welcome. This graphic of the top 10 players of all time. And he asked if we agree with this. He says, I don't. Kobe number 9 and me number 10. Hell to the nah. Now, I know it was just the anniversary of the famous, Kobe to Shaq alley-oop just a couple of days ago. But to which I would respond, Shaq, just be happy you in the top 10. And I don't mean that dismissively. I don't mean no insult. The most physically dominant player we've ever seen. But go ahead. To me, the top 10 players in NBA history is like first class on a flight. If I'm in 2B or 5C, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? Like the top 10 is very much, the order of the top 10 is interchangeable for a lot of people. And the reason why Shaq, as dominant and as great as he is and was, should be happy being in the top 10, because to my untrained eye, there are 2 glaring omissions in the top 10. Now, here's the thing about math.
That's right. Come on now.
Here's the thing about math. If 2 men enter, 2 men have to leave Thunderdome.
Right.
So I don't know who's coming out. But I know 2 faces that I don't see on this list are one, Stephen Wardell. Okay, at least 2. Okay, Wardell Stephen Curry is not on this list. And my all-time starting center, if we still playing position basketball, and I'm picking a starting 5, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon is my starting center. Where's Hakeem Olajuwon? Give me Shaq give me Hakeem Olajuwon over Shaq. That's just 2.
Over Shaq.
Don't ask me who's coming out, but that's just 2. Give me the Dream over Shaq. So Hakeem Olajuwon, Steph Curry ain't on this list. Shaq, just be glad you in the club, according to whoever made this graphic. Who am I missing? Who else jumps out that should be in this top 10?
Okay, so you got Wardell, Stephen Curry.
Yep.
You got him. You got Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
Who early in his career was Akeem, and he added H.
Yes.
Kevin Durant, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Durant. Why is KD not in here?
Not above these dudes. No. Okay, no. That's what we part company. Nope.
I don't know. I don't know who I'm taking out of the top 10. I know who I'm taking out of 10. So Shaq's out. Hakeem is in. I did that last night. I just did that.
You taking Kevin Durant? Okay, right. But you also taking Kevin Durant over Shaq?
I don't know. I'm just saying. These are some damn names. All
right. Okay.
I know.
So you're just saying this is others receiving votes. This is like other considerations. Okay. All right.
I lost no sleep last night. I lost no sleep when I said, Hakeem's in, Shaq's out. What's Shaq talking about?
Hakeem is in. Hakeem is in.
So I took that. Now, Kobe at 9 is interesting because I think despite your 2B, 5C analogy, look, there's certain airlines where you're in first class, but they had that little curtain, and that little curtain is just it's the only thing separating you from coach.
Yeah.
And you know, you kind of aware sometimes out of the side of your eye, you see the coach people.
Look close.
Coach people looking at you.
Yeah.
They're looking at you like, why he in first class?
Yeah.
Why ain't
maybe not coach, maybe Delta Comfort. Yeah.
Or business class, something like that.
Yeah.
So 9
the snootiest
might
conversation
be a little
ever,
low. It sure is. It's very first worldy, but I'm okay with it. So I take Kobe up over Tim Duncan. I take Kobe over Larry Bird. So now I got
okay. If you want,
I'm doing it.
All right, that's what I'm saying.
I do it.
Hey, you see Tropic Thunder? You were nominated?
Yeah.
To have been nominated would have been nice. I was not. So just to be in the top 10 is nice. Okay. LeBron.
I don't think I can can't touch the top 5.
Okay.
Except
so LeBron
switching 2 and 1. That's it. I'll put 2 and 1 and 1 2.
Get out. Okay. Speaking of switching and speaking of LeBron, okay, we know he's somewhere in that top 10. We know who ain't in that top 10 is Kyrie Irving. Remember I told you a couple of weeks ago that Kyrie Irving needed to just be satisfied that people still talking about him? And yet, just to refresh your memory, here was him bitching and complaining not that long ago about, all the people in my mentions and the speculation and, I don't want, just leave me out of it. Here's what he said.
My last thing that I'm going to say after I say I love y'all. Stop mentioning me on Twitters. All y'all fan bases, stop mentioning me right now, please. It is still the Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals. Denver's going to the finals. We're still waiting for Boston and Miami. Can y'all please leave me out of this? Please, can I just be with my family in peace? Y'all got people at my dinner table discussing what my free agency plans are. Stop that. Y'all think it's funny shit, but please stop that. I actually like having peace of mind when I'm at the crib, all right? I see all y'all ads, I see all y'all mentions, okay, I said it. I see all y'all stuff y'all be saying, I see all y'all memories, I get it. I'm just as excited as y'all are, but you gotta chill though.
Oh, and here's a tweet. Here's a tweet today about Kyrie reaching out to LeBron about joining the Mavericks, okay? Michael, I cannot keep track of how many ways this story is bullshit. Let's start with this, okay? Clearly coming from Kyrie's camp that he has reached out to LeBron. And I don't know if it's just like, he wants to be, is this like I want to be on top type thing? Like you reaching out to LeBron. Okay, there's that part of it, right? Then on the flip side, it's clearly LeBron putting it out there from a Haynes perspective that, Dallas is a thing, could have been a thing, because he wants to pressure the Lakers to go and get LeBron or go and get Kyrie. Because they want to play together as if big threes are still a thing, as if overnight big threes are still a thing, to say nothing of the fact that I don't care how much they like each other, ain't no world in which LeBron and Luka Doncic can play together with Kyrie Irving. Right. Then there's this part. Just what I'm talking about, just be happy. Kyrie Irving, just be happy that the Mavericks are actually willing to be dumb enough to pay you the max amount, 200 and whatever $1 million it is. Just be happy. Just take. You ever had somebody at your house and then they start inviting people to your house? When did Kyrie Irving become the person to recruit people to Dallas? When did that become his job? Like, bro, you just got here. We're not even sure if we want you here. You are unrestricted free agent. And oh, by the way, did I mention that LeBron is not? Like, oh, he's recruiting LeBron to come to Dallas. By what means? How? How that work? Houseway? Remember that Houseway? Remember that? Like, he's not a free agent. So what exactly would Dallas have to offer Los Angeles to incentivize the Lakers to trade? Like, this whole thing is just such bullshit.
Yeah, there you go. You can't see it there that well, but it's a lot of nothing. There we go. A lot of nothing. Thank you. A lot of nothing going to Dallas. Going to the Lakers, and the Mavericks getting LeBron James. Oh yeah, sure. What's the motivation? And what's the motivation for LeBron? I mean, I think at this point of his career, closer to 40 years old, very close to 40 years old, and you know how he feels about Bronny and USC and seeing his kids and being a family. Like the Lakers, this is his last stop. I really do. I don't think he's going to play anywhere else. I think it's going to be Los Angeles, maybe Cleveland, but I doubt it. I think LA, and I just don't see him being interested in the Mavericks, not to mention the things that you brought up. You know, the fact that he's not a free agent.
Well, and here's another one. Here's another little note.
And
this
basketball
is Chris's story. The Mavericks were preparing to make an offer for James last season. I'm reading from his story. When the Lakers were spiraling, sources say, despite James being ineligible for a trade last season, due to the date of his extension. So, were the Mavericks just not aware that they couldn't pursue LeBron James? So is this either incompetence or is this all, again, politics and posturing because these dudes want to play together in LA and LeBron, just like when he was talking about retirement, is trying to get the Lakers to bend to his will, right. to bend the knee before the king and give him the guy he wants.
Kiss it. Kiss that ring, too.
This is so transparent.
Kiss the ring. Thank you, Godfather.
So transparent.
Thank you for the opportunity, Godfather. I hope that you have a child and that it is a male child, Godfather. Thank you very much.
It just annoyed the hell out of me. It's like, this can't happen, won't happen, and wouldn't work. And, like, big threes are so, like, ain't that played out? We even roll like that. We don't roll like that no more, dog. That day's dead, right? Overnight superstar big three. Not to mention Kyrie. Didn't you already have your run of the place once or maybe even twice before? How'd that work out? Like, if I'm Mark Cuban in the Mavericks, I'm like, wait, unless they in on this whole thing, Kyrie Irving really out here like recruiting on our behalf? Like, you ain't running shit ask Brooklyn about that, how they worked out for them.
If we talk about a big three, though, have we ever had a big three? Has a big three ever, the entire trio, ever been load managed simultaneously? I mean, like, LeBron don't be playing all the time. Kyrie, we know Kyrie don't play all the time. And then I don't know about Luka. Luka, I don't know about Luka. I don't know. I don't know about this one.
So let's get back to game 2. Again, keeping the theme of not being satisfied. To the untrained eye, it would seem that the Heat were satisfied with Nikola Jokic getting his and limiting the other guys, or the others as some people like to call them. Don't tell that to Eric Spoelstra.
Sometimes when teams play against Jokic, you turn him into a scorer, you turn him into a passer, and he controls the game. He only had 4 assists tonight.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You know, it's just, that's the untrained eye that says something like that.
I do think what Miami did tonight, they said, all right, we're going to make Jokic a scorer. Let's take away other people.
All right, well, maybe Steve Kerr and me and everybody else, Kurt Helin is the untrained eye because I think that was Spo just basically not wanting to confirm anything that would suggest that there is a way to limit the best player in the world. Because, Kurt, this to me is a strategy as old as basketball itself. Whether it was Jordan, whether it's LeBron, let the superstar go off. Do not let his supporting cast beat you. That is like one guy cannot beat you by himself. That's just it's so obvious to even the untrained eye because it is basic logic. It's basic basketball logic, right?
Exactly. Look, the Nuggets are the most dangerous when it's raining from everywhere, right? When he's scoring 25 or whatever, but dishing out 12 assists, and Jamal Murray's getting his, and Aaron Gordon's getting his, and Michael Porter Jr. is knocking down threes. That's when they're unstoppable. What they did last night was what they want to do, what everybody said going into the series, which was simply, hey, man, don't let everybody else go off, make him score. That struck me as Eric Spoelstra not wanting to poke the bear, right? So it's like, man, let's just keep it like this. I don't want to make Jokic mad. He's the best player on the floor. That's how I read it. I'm with you. I don't. That's what everybody's been saying it's what I wrote before the series. It's what everybody's been writing.
It ain't rocket science. Michael, in the watch party, remember the spades analogy in the watch party? I ain't gonna waste everybody's time doing it again, but it was like they got the big joker. You ain't beating the big joker, but you can still have a winning hand. You can still get more books if you cutting those other suits, those diamonds, those clubs, and those hearts, Michael.
Absolutely. And I really want to get to this, Kurt, with you. Look, at most, we got 5 games left in the NBA season. 5 games. How long, and Michael and I talked about this earlier, how long are we going to continue to say, oh, wow, can you believe Miami is in this position? Or, Miami, Denver fell asleep, but, Miami is not that good. Whether it's their Jokic approach or not, how long before we just say, okay, this is what we got? What we got is 2 potential champions, Stokely. Yeah, I know, I'm with you, Stokely. 2 potential champions.
I think he's amening you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think the other thing we need is another graphic about all the undrafted players so big that it blocks out the play for like 2 minutes on the screen. That'd be great. There is something to the idea that, man, we're selling the Heat short. Like these, you can say they develop the players, you can do whatever. Jimmy Butler is an all-NBA, capable of being a top 10 player in the NBA when he wants to be, like during the playoffs when he cranks it up guy. And they've got the right mix around him to make this work. Bam is an elite defender and versatile. They got shooters. They got versatile guys everywhere. We are selling them short, and they're still not the better team in this series. It's just, dude, Denver was arrogant last night. They played arrogant.
Are you sure? But are you sure, Kurt? Are you sure they're not the better team? I don't know anymore.
Based on what? They don't have the best player, but why aren't they the better team?
I genuinely believe look, everything they did wrong, they still all, like you were talking about, man. Jamal Murray front rims that thing or we're going to overtime. I still think that their depth, when they turn it on, when they are focused on defense, Michael Malone was fuming after the game last night, absolutely fuming at his team's effort. And Jeff Green was even more direct. Like they know they just did not play hard enough for stretches of that game.
Kurt, I define the better team not as the more talented team, not as the team that maybe is the more explosive. And Denver's offense, even with Jokic having 4 assists, was still pretty good last night. I define the better team as, wait for it, the team that plays better. The team that plays harder, better, longer, and in critical situations, which the Heat are more than comfortable in, executes better. So, I mean, to Michael Holley's point, we could be sitting up here after a 6 or 7 game series or 5 game series in favor of Miami, still talking about the Nuggets being the better team, when Miami might be the one holding the trophy at the end of this, which is why it boggles the mind that there's even a conversation in Denver about effort. You said it a second ago. The Nuggets were arrogant. How does that happen? When you were the disrespected team.
Wait, but after everything you watched leading up to this, after watching Milwaukee, after watching Boston in particular, I was stunned that we saw that. I think the one difference is when things started to go bad for Boston, do they unravel. They completely and totally unraveled and were a mess. In game one, things started to go bad for Denver. They got the ball to Jokic. He put some buckets in. They settled things down in the fourth. They held on and won. They didn't win last night, but they made that push at the end. I don't think they're going to unravel. I don't think they're going to fall apart the way Boston did, but they can't. There's no margin for error with this team. Like you said, man, you've got to credit Miami's just utter relentlessness night in and night out. And if you give them an inch, man, they're taking the mile.
Yeah. Hey, before we let you go and add to your Sky Miles or whatever your preferred carrier is as you depart Denver from Miami, real quick, this LeBron, Kyrie manufactured. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right. I just want to make sure because I'm just like, I'm like, you know what?
By the way,
yeah,
you covered it. I'm in the. By the way, first off, it's coordinated when two guys leak it at once. Like two guys, two newsbreakers
from opposite sides, who both are embedded with each player's camps.
Exactly. I still think this was completely in the LeBron pressuring the Lakers to bring in Kyrie camp because the Lakers largely want to run it back, bring back Austin Reeves, bring back Rui, and I'll just say under the new CBA, there's like no way.
Thank you. That's the
put
other
them
part.
all together.
3 max players.
You just simply can't. 3 max players under the new CBA.
They got to take a pay cut.
You're like,
Haynes wrote that this story. Somebody have to take a pay cut. Who's doing that?
That's my favorite story going around now. Hey, maybe LeBron plays this year, but then what he really wants is a buyout so he can just sign for the minimum somewhere. I'm like, really? Really?
Kyrie ain't taking a pay cut.
LeBron, man.
No, Kyrie, yeah, you know what? I'll take less. No, that's why he got in Dallas in the first place. Wasn't trying to take a pay cut.
Exactly.
Come on, man. Come on.
Another quick question. Another quick one.
Fast.
You got top 10 players. You got Shaq in top 10. Is it Hakeem over Shaq? Is it KD over Shaq? Steph Curry over Shaq? Anybody over Shaq at number 10?
I looked at that list. First off, I'd have Duncan a little higher. I'd have Curry and Hakeem in. I would have Shaq and Bird out.
Bird, yeah.
See, I like Bird, but Bird's in the KD 11 to 15 range for me.
You know who ain't never coming out? Like ever? You know who's never coming out? Russell and Wilt. And Wilt. Both of them. It's like everybody got sensitive to never take them two dudes out.
Yeah, no.
And Kurt, did I hear you say you got LeBron at 1? You got LeBron.
No, he did not say that.
Oh, I did not say that. I did not go down that road.
Safe travel.
The altitude ain't that high in Denver. All I know is, sorry to be corny, you could change the name of this organization to the Miami Heart. For this team to come from losing the first play-in game, barely winning the second play-in game, and to now be in the NBA Finals as the second 8th seed in NBA history? There was history made last night.
So I get the sentiment of not breaking up two players, but they don't complement each other because I actually don't think Jaylen Brown, he can actually be your second best player. I think at best, he's your third best player. They need a more dynamic scorer, ball handler, someone who can set them up. And I don't think that they have the ability to acquire that without giving up something.
Well, where are the flame emojis? Put the flame emojis on the screen. Natalie is bringing the fire.
I'm about to overreact. I'm about to go to the casino and I'm going to pick the Nuggets in 4. I'm ready to overreact. So take me off the ledge. I would like to be taking off the ledge. I would like to have at least 2 more games added to this conversation, but I feel my spirit says, no, it's not going to happen. So tell me, Nikias, I'm wrong and that the Heat is going to get something out of this.
Yo, Mike, what you doing Saturday, bro?
Saturday. Hey, listen, I'm around. I'm down to travel, down to just hang, whatever you got. What's going on? You gonna give me another call like you did last Friday? Are we gonna talk about that? Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, about the dynasty trade that I ended up I didn't do, but I interrupted date night. No, this is much more important. This is real life. This is not fantasy. This is real life. I was wondering if you could jet down to Hartford for old time's sake. for you and I to appear at. I've been to a lot of football camps. I know you have as well. I've seen a lot of football camps in my years. The Carmine and Frank Mangini Foundation's Football Fundamentals Camp is easily the best I've ever attended. And yeah, we're both biased because you and I go way back with Eric Mangini, the former Jets and Browns head coach, is a good friend of ours. We've known him since his Patriot days. I think the statute of limitations has expired. We can acknowledge that now, right?
That's right.
So, okay, good.
That's right.
I think it might have been like 2004 I went, and there are kids from Hartford as far as the eye can see being trained by high school, college, and professional coaches in the fundamentals of football, the best flag football tournament I've ever seen, an all-star cast of coaches and counselors from the NFL and all of Eric's various stops come out every year for the CFM Foundation camp. And this is the 20th and final year for our friend Eric Mangini's camp. Good to see you, E. And I guess I'll start with, man, just what are your emotions about having done this for 20 years and this being the final year of a camp that's made such a difference in the Hartford community and so many lives of so many youth in that area where you grew up?
Well, first of all, you guys are both very impressive contributors to the Football Fundamentals camp, applying your expertise and insights. Yeah, the kids definitely benefit from it.
They learned a lot from us.
Here's a big part of the camp. Some of it is football, which is great, and we want them to go back to their teams with learning something like that. But a lot of it is being around great mentors and being around great people and being around adults that want to make sure that they understand how important their success is to them, and that's a role that a lot of people play. For me, I'm very proud of what we've done over the 20 camps. Had upwards of 10,000 kids go through it. Everybody who's involved volunteers. Nobody gets paid. No hotels are paid for it. There's none of that stuff. It's all coaches, the police officers who help out, the officials who help out, the food. Volunteer. Everybody who helps out is doing it for free and doing it because they want to make an amazing day. And I'm proud of that. And I think we've had a ton of success stories, a ton of great days, and hopefully we've affected some kids in a really positive way.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because when Mike and I went down and we coached one team, I still remember this. We had a formation.
To the finals, right?
Trips left. Okay. Then we had another kid. I'm telling you, we had another kid lined up, one-on-one. And we said, before this, Eric, in the huddle, we said, okay, who wants it? Who wants the ball? All the kids, I want it. Okay, God, we got the right thing. We got guys who want the ball. And of course, the play fell apart. Nobody really wanted the ball. We're still really hurt over that. But in all seriousness, it was a great memory. Mike and I still talk about it. Tell me somebody who has come up to you when you least expected it and said something about the camp that probably blew your mind. I'm sure you got lots of stories like that, but give us an example of somebody who really, the camp affected them and it just really amazed you.
Here's something that was great that happened just the other night. So this is a lot of work to put on. It's a little bit like putting on a wedding. There's so many moving parts with food and fields and equipment and coaches and volunteers. It goes on, and it can get a little bit not overwhelming, but it can wear on you a little bit. And then I get a call or a text like I got the other night. So Rob Ryan, who's in Las Vegas as a linebackers coach, is hanging out with John Jenkins, and they're talking about the camp. And John Jenkins is a Maloney grad, so that's a town very close to Hartford, had gone to the camp for 2 years, decided to try running back while he was at the camp, ended up playing some running back in high school, which helped him get into a JUCO, which eventually helped him transfer to Georgia, which eventually helped him get drafted by the team that Rob Ryan was the defensive coordinator at the time. And Rob was at the camp that John was at. And now they're together. This is 12 years later in Las Vegas. And they text me just saying what a great experience they had. And I talked to John today, and John said, that was something that he didn't really have an opportunity to do otherwise. And it changed things for him in a really impactful way. So when you hear things like that, and when we're talking to a guy who's 12 years in the league, and the combination of him and Rob together, it's fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah, I want to say that's why I first met Rob, and even like, again, selfishly, that's not what it was about. We were there to support. But I mean, not for nothing, Eric. I mean, now you're a media member, you understand it's like the connections that we made, because like, it showed how people viewed you and what they thought of you. Because whether it was the Patriots, the Jets, the Ravens, the Browns, I mean Marvin Lewis was there, Dante Scarnecchia, you mentioned Rob Ryan, Rex Ryan, like so many people, Mike Tannenbaum, like people throughout the entire league would descend at the time it was at Berkeley High School, right? They would descend in the downtown Hartford. And we made all sorts of connections from people at that camp. I mean, it was an all-star cast of counselors pouring into these kids.
Yeah, look, I'll put our coaching staff head-to-head with anybody. We've had, I think, 12 NFL head coaches who have worked it. I don't know how many coordinators have worked it throughout the year. I mean, there's 4 current NFL head coaches that have been at the camp, and Matt Eberflus, Brian Daboll, Bill Belichick. Who am I missing? I forget who I'm missing.
I mentioned Marvin.
The fourth one. Well, yeah, look, Marvin's been in the past, but Josh McDaniels. And then
Josh,
yep, he's been there. So there's 4 current head coaches who have coached the camp, and the list goes on in terms of guys: Romeo Crennel, Mike Pettin, Marvin Lewis, Chris Palmer, and probably 4 or 5 GMs, plus tons of college coaches, NFL players, and the high school coaches. But all that being said, to me, it's more just about the teachers that come out and work to help provide or serve lunch or pass out T-shirts or set up the 7-on-7. The high school officials who volunteer their time to come out and do the games in the afternoon. Like that part to me is what's special.
It takes a village, and props to Julia and your family for what they've done in support of you and behind the scenes in support of the foundation. If you want to support the foundation, you're interested, it's not too late to attend or sign up for the camp. Go to the CFM Foundation website, and they'll take care of the rest. While we got you here, man, at www.cfm-foundation.org, if you're listening or watching and you want to just find out what this foundation is all about. It's about much more than this camp. You guys do great work giving back to the community. While we got you, man, let's pick your brain about football, which we've done over the years. You mentioned Brian Daboll. You know what it's like to be hot in New York City, to be the new guy at the dance in New York City. Brian Daboll, the Giants make your old colleague with New England, make the playoffs his first year. A lot of expectations about taking that next step. What is your read on the Giants and the direction that your buddy Daboll has them going?
Look, it's going to be a rough road, and I went through that. I made the playoffs the first year at the Jets, and expectations weren't very high. And as much success as he's had and we had, you're still building your program. You're still putting your vision into place, and there can be a lot of hiccups in year 2, and they haven't really added that many players. They've had to pay some players that they had a lot more money than the previous season. And then when you look at their schedule, it's brutal. There's like 3 games in the first 11 days. There's 7 out of 10 on the road. It's like they made someone in the scheduling department angry with their success. And then there's part of it, Mike, that you have to teach your team how to deal with success. So we always talk about dealing with adversity, and there's a lot of research and time put into that. But people have to learn how to deal with success too. And Teddy Atlas, the famous boxing trainer, says success is like a martini. It relaxes you. And all those guys in New York have to understand that what they did last year was great, but now they have to do it better because everybody's ready. They're not sneaking up on anybody. And it's a different formula that they have to execute this season.
Now I know you know about success in New York. They had a great nickname for you, man, Genius.
They had a lot of nicknames. Not all of them were nice.
Hey, listen. That's all. Hey, Eric, that's all of us. But I can tell you though, personally, I put down that you were my personal coach. Thank you again. Everybody needs to know Eric Mangini used to coach me on Fridays during the football season on coverages because I didn't know anything. I still don't know much, but I it was. I was saying, wait a minute. There's a cover 5. There's a cover 7. What is that?
Eric taught me the dual protection system. He taught from an offensive line standpoint. Absolutely, yeah.
And going over X's and O's.
55 is the mic. I know what all that means now.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
But let me ask you about New York. Now, you were there and coaching with the Jets. Now, once again, expectations sky high, specifically with the Aaron Rodgers situation. What's your read on that, and how would you manage it if Robert Saleh asked for advice? What would you tell him?
Look, I lived it. I lived it with Brett Favre. I mean, I got an old Green Bay quarterback that had a ton of success who came in with high expectations, and I know what that feels like. And the idea that this isn't a 1-year situation for Robert, that's not true. Everything changed as soon as they got Aaron Rodgers, and for good reason. People in New York should be excited. They've got a chance in every game. They've got a chance to go to the playoffs. They've got a chance. It's just different. The offensive line will be better. The running backs will be better. The defense will be better because they've got the quarterback that they have. And they also got him much earlier than when we got Brett. We got Brett during the preseason. They got him in the offseason. They have an offensive coordinator who worked with him. We had to adjust our offense to maximize Brett's potential. So it's all lined up for him, and there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to win the division. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to go deep in the playoffs. They should be able to do all those things. And if they don't, there's probably going to be a new head coach in New York next season.
Hey, we got less than a minute. Real quick, back in the Chiefs are at the White House today. Back in the day, the Patriots are regulars at the White House. A lot of tension around your old boss, Bill Belichick. What's your read on that situation and them being considered the worst team in the AFC East, and this being maybe a transition period in New England?
Yeah, it's unbelievable they could be considered in a spot where they're considered to be the worst team in that division. And Mac Jones, I think Rodney Harrison said that the NFL has a way of humbling you. And Mac Jones, I think, has gone through a humbling process, and hopefully through that humbling process, he's grown. And if he's grown,
hey man,
they got a chance to beat anybody each week.
Hey brother, we love you. We appreciate you, man. Congratulations on 20 years of an incredible camp, brother.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you.
Mike, I mentioned that the Chiefs are at the White House today. I think it's not their last time. But how many more times do you think Mahomes' Chiefs go to the White House?
3 more times. 5 titles.
Wow.
Hey man.
Oh wow.
How many dynasty titles are you gonna win? Because you called me on date night talking about some 3rd or 4th or 5th receiver for the Patriots. What's up, man?
His name is Tyquan Thornton, and I wanted to know your read on him if I should trade a future pick for him.
I wasn't thinking about.
I don't know you on date night.
Tyquan Thornton on Friday night.
I don't know you on date night. It wasn't like I interrupted anything. You wasn't doing nothing. You wasn't handling no business.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.